going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys haven't been here before, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell so you guys can stay tuned for all of the good content that's coming out of this channel. So for today's video, what I wanted to talk about was things to look for when you're buying a used, say, 6.7 Cummins. I'm going to talk just to this particular platform, mainly because it's all I've owned. I can't speak for other platforms that I don't own or that I don't have experience with. So first and foremost, for the 6.7 Cummins, the two that I have owned, a 2013 and now my 2014, are both, I guess you consider I bought them used. My first one only had like 800 miles on it, but it already had been titled, so it was considered a used truck. And this one was a used truck that I found on Marketplace back in 2017. So I can tell you right now, firsthand experience, buying a diesel truck used is somewhat of a nerve-wracking experience. And the reason I say that is because when it comes to making sure you're getting a good quality vehicle that somebody hasn't beat up or abused is kind of hard to come by, especially when you want to buy them somewhat modded. And we'll get to that later when it comes to things to look for, right? So my story on this truck is I bought this truck in November of 2017. I believe that was around, yeah, because that's when my tags expire or whatever. But so I bought this truck in November of 2017. It had 16,000 miles on it. So the truck was a 2014. It was manufactured in August of 13. So it had been around for, say, almost 4 years, a little over 4 years. The truck had a lift, wheels, and tires on it and a tonneau cover, and the owner took meticulous care of this vehicle. I bought this truck sight unseen. I saw pictures. I had a buddy go look at it that actually lived pretty close to this guy. The truck was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I live in Oklahoma City, so I wasn't able to make the trek out there to go look at it in person. So I actually hit up a few buddies of mine that lived in Nashville. Long story short, I had a buddy of mine, Dallas, who lived out there. He's a cop. And I said, hey man, there's this truck that's in Hendersonville, right outside of Nashville. Would you be able to go take a look at it? He was like, hold on just a second. I sent him a picture of it. And he was like, oh crap, dude, I'm looking at it right now. So small world. He lived in the same apartment complex that the guy Randy that I bought the truck from they pretty much lived in the same spot. So crazy ironic how that worked out, but it did. And I had him go look at it, and he's like, yeah dude, it's a bad freaking truck and there's not anything wrong with it. I pretty much trusted Randy because we had been talking for a while, but you know, it's always good to get that outsider opinion. So I had him go look at it. Truck was meticulously taken care of, and I just had zero complaints with it. It was as advertised, so when it got delivered, I had no issues with it. Randy he's a stand-up guy. I still talk to him to this day, and yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better seller when it came to this truck. I know he didn't beat on it. It was a stock truck in the motor on the motor department. It wasn't anything tuned. It wasn't deleted or anything like that. So I started fresh there. All right, the first thing you want to look for when you're buying a, say, 4th gen 2500, 3500 with a 6.7 Cummins, in my personal experience, the first thing I look at is mileage. How many miles does it have on it? You hear the old saying of, oh, you know, Cummins isn't really broken in until she hits like 120,000 miles. I don't care about that. I like low mileage vehicles. That's just me, because if it's low mileage, then everything else on the truck should be fairly good. Say suspension, bushings, all the, you know, maintenance items that are going to wear out over time. So that's something that I look for. But main thing for that is just, you can kind of average out the mileage and how old the truck is, and you know how many miles has been driven a year, and try to average that out. That's just one thing that I do. So when I bought this truck, like I said earlier, I had 16,000 miles on it and some change. I'm driving right now, I currently have 37,332 miles on it. So me personally, I haven't driven it much, just for the simple fact that for the first 2-3 years of ownership of this truck, that it is pretty much, I've been deployed almost 6 to 8 months out of the year, so I didn't get driven much. But I do plan on driving it a lot more now that I'm not flying all the time. So one thing to look at obviously is mileage. It's just gonna, and with the mileage, you're just gonna be able to see how well the truck was taken care of, even if it's a little older. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is knowing who the previous owner was. Like, I know some people buy these things from a dealership and it's hard to get that information, but at the same time, there's always ways around that stuff, right? You can always get a Carfax, you can always look at the service records if it was at the dealership, maybe try to, you know, get the name of that person and talk to them. They may not like it, but oh well, it's your money you're spending, and if you want to reach out to them and see like what actually they did with the truck. Obviously these trucks are made for towing, they're made for heavy duty work, so that stuff's gonna be, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna find these trucks are worked sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's what it's built for. Me personally, I was lucky and fortunate enough to buy from a private seller, so I knew exactly who it was. It was a one-owner truck, and I knew he took meticulous care of it. Some people are like that. You just may not know because of the dealership. It might be sold at a dealership or on, you know, a trade-in for them to get something different. But it's always good to see who the previous owner was, if it was a younger guy, an older guy. And I don't know, man. I'm almost like my own private investigator sometimes when it comes to finding out information. And social media is the death of a lot of people when it comes to that, because you can find out a lot of stuff about people and just by looking at social media. So doing your research on there, seeing, you know, what happens if this guy did a burnout and he posted it to his Instagram or his Facebook or whatever the case may be. Those are dead giveaways of like, yeah, it's probably something you want to stay away from. So that's just my opinion. I'm a person that likes to start from a healthy platform and go from there. But obviously with starting with a good healthy platform, you're going to pay for it. You know, the lower miles, how immaculate the truck is, how it rides and everything is going to reflect the value of the truck. So take that into consideration as well. All right, next thing I want to talk about is buying a truck from a different location, right? So what I mean by that is buying a truck that's from the south, buying a truck that's from the north. These trucks are getting older, 4th gens. They started out in 2000, I want to say 10, I'm not sure. I know 11, 12, and 13 for sure. But these trucks are nearing 10 years old now, so looking for rust, you know, making sure the bottom of the truck is clean. Surface rust is not a big deal on the frame, you know, but I'm talking about like rusted out holes on the body, the frame, things like that. You know, if it was used as a plow truck, whatever the case may be, those are some things to look for. So I bought my truck from a guy, like I said, in Tennessee. Crazy story is it started its life here actually in Oklahoma City. Randy found this truck, or the dealership that he bought it from found this truck, had it transferred from Oklahoma City back to Nashville, and now it's going from Nashville back to Oklahoma City. So Oklahoma City vehicles are usually pretty straightforward, pretty clean. We don't get too much snow down here, so it's kind of considered the South, I guess you could say, or the Midwest, however you want to look at it. But yeah, location is a big one when it comes to, for me personally, looking at where I'm going to buy a vehicle from. Next thing I want to talk about is suspension and steering. The lower the miles it has on it, the less wore out that stuff's going to be. So getting under there, looking at it, I mean, heck, if you're not too savvy with that stuff, take it to a mechanic that's not at the dealership or somewhere else, and just have them give it a once over and see exactly, you know, what the problems may be. So those are all wear items. It's before you know it, that stuff's going to be wearing. It is what it is. That stuff's made to wear out eventually, or it would just be one stiff-ass ride. So those are things also to look at. Last thing I want to talk about is buying a truck that is already built. So this covers a lot of bases, right? And some people want to do that for the simple fact that it saves you money on the initial purchase of the vehicle, because mods, believe it or not, don't add value to the truck. So when you're looking at a truck that's built, say, you know, 2nd gen swap, it's deleted, tuned, and it's got the exhaust and the emission stuff gone already, those are things that you may want to take into consideration when you're buying your truck, just for the simple fact that it's going to be cheaper for you in the long run. With that being said, you got to ask yourself why people did those mods in the first place. Deleting and tuning, not too bad, right? Once again, look at the owner, and you know, just make a quick assumption of, hey, do you think this person beat it up? Do you think he dogged it at all? And that can kind of give you a warm and fuzzy about how you feel about that vehicle in particular. So me personally, I wouldn't buy anything that has any kind of work done to it, because first of all, I want to do it myself, and also it leaves the door open for having a not so stable platform. People looking at 2nd gen swaps or trucks with like a 48 swap and things like that. You need to ask yourself this question: why the hell did they do that? Obviously they wanted more power, right? Nobody builds a truck to have, say, 600 to 1,000 horsepower just to cruise it like a grandma. I don't care what they say. You don't buy that truck, build it, get all that horsepower, get all that mods going, just for you to sit there and look at it and make sure, you know, be a garage queen and not beat on it. It happens. That's what they build them for. So think about that long and hard before you buy one of those trucks. If you know the owner and, you know, you're okay with that, by all means, you know, do what you got to do. It's definitely going to save you money in the long run. But me personally, that is something that I would not want to do. Last thing I'm going to cover on buying a truck that's already built is look for documentation. Look for the receipts, look for the builder, look for somebody that's reputable. See if there's any documentation on it, say via social media, YouTube. The guy had maybe he had a channel, whatnot. Those are things that you need to, you know, probably take into consideration when you buy a truck that's built. Documentation is key to everything. You know, are those key mods done? Are they done right? You know, head studs, that's obviously a big one for these trucks. If there's any kind of added power mods, just make sure that they were installed right. You don't want to be having problems later on down the road and try to get a mechanic to fix a truck that's already been worked on and modded beyond their, say, scope of knowledge. So those are always things to take into consideration when buying a stock truck or a truck that's kind of built already. So I'm hoping this video helps you out when it comes to, you know, looking at those key factors. Not everybody's as mechanically inclined as one another, and maybe some of these tips that I'm telling you will help you when it comes to purchasing your next 4th gen or 6.7 Cummins. So hopefully you guys learned something from this. Hopefully you guys have something to take away from this video. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just another normal guy that has a hobby and a passion for the diesel performance industry, and hopefully I can spread some of that knowledge onto you guys, and you guys can learn from it. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, if you guys haven't been here before, please get down there, like the video, leave me some comments. Let me know what you guys think of what I'm talking about, and if you guys have anything to add. And once again, hit that the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell. Hopefully there's a lot more content I can bring to you guys here in the near future when it comes to doing mods to this truck. And other than that, thank you guys for watching. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you for all your support, and we'll see you guys on the next upload. Take it easy.